Okay, so guys, quickly, we too want to look at now few of the module inside Node.js, or few of the module we Node.js give us to work with, and they really make sense, right? So the first one we I go on start with, or the first one we'll look at now. Say okay, we'll look at parts. We will look at FS. Then we will look at events, right? Makes sense, right? So we will look at these three, and so make we start, right? So most starts with parts, right? So make I save. Now to use parts, we need to first of all import them. So these one are core modules, right? From Node.js. So we'll say parts, import part from node parts, right? So within this one will do, it will give us the ability to use node. So for some reason, this guy they show creepy line, right? To resolve that, make I just do slash node, right? So that will hopefully resolve that problem. Now, once we don't get part install, I still dey see this creepy line. If you still dey see am sharp, okay, it's gone. Okay, so this one will get part install. Now we don't get part, right? So we fit still use them. So how we fit use parts, right? So to use parts, they super interesting. Why? Because part allow us to locate parts of to locate file locations, right, in our system. I think parts they do. You need to create them, but they help us locate them, right? So so make I just do console.log, right? Then if I do dash down link, so this one like an inbuilt global path to help us get this directory path, right? So this directory, which is this tooth, right, where it is. So if we save, we will see now from C to code lab to documents, extensor, and tooth, right? So now the path to get here. And this thing will give us so now the absolute part, because now from C down here. Now to show whether this part they absolute or not, if we just duplicate here, come here, type part dot is absolute. So if we save, we should see through. Now in that same regard, we get another we then call, I can just duplicate this, maybe file name, right? So if I save, we see down to the file name, which is index, and of course the absolute path 9 these guys they give us, right? Make accurate sense. So something else we'll quickly do right now to do pass. So waiting pass will do, it will give us details, right, from the root. So the roots now C, of course we know say the roots now C, then the directory path, right, which is what we saw here, the DAO path. The base name now text, right, index.ts, let me the base name, extension, and the name. So all of these we still get them. So for example, if I do this, then come here and I say okay, base name, right? So we'll get the base name and this. So of course we still do for the extension name. So if we do that, we get this .tx, right? And many more will be apply, right? But of all these, the most important we will often use now the join. And within join they do, so make I do console.log. So if I say part.join, right? So inside here I feel say, make I say Peter, come here, say event. So if I save this, we'll see Peter / event. So automatically this guy they create a path, right? Though the part no dey exist, but he will create that part. Then it's now our duty to put file in that part. If we put file in that part automatically stays. But if we no put file inside there, of course, it will vanish away, right? So na wetin the join dey do, and we go use am a lot, right? So I fit do something like dash down in, come here, say okay. So if I do this, so it then means say in this directory, it dey create a folder called Peter, right? Now if I come put a third parameter and I say as a study.txt, right? So now I don't create a file to that part, right? So it will add the file to that part. Of course, I fit do another, say like I say data comma, right? So you go add another folder, right, down to the last, right? So now we think join they do be that, right? Now it will make sense for our next learnings, which is this fx, right? So make I come down here, do something like this fs. So this fs library, they very important. Why? Because of fs module, they're very important. Why? Because we will use them create, right, create file into our system, right? Now you see they do, they help us, or they allow us to fit create file inside our system. So make we see how we fit use them. Now typically when I teach or they talk about file system, I like to apply them from a perspective, which is the crude perspective, which definitely implies, okay, how if you use and read file, how if you use and create file, how if you use and update and delete file, right? Majorly that for perspective. So make I just reduce here, then sort of like open here, then inside here make I do something like text, right? So inside here make I say this is the day that the Lord has made, right? So save this, right? So if we come here now, how do we read that file? So we've installed the fx, right? So we'll just say fx.read file. Now if we say fx.read file, it will take two arguments, right? The first argument is the file, the path to that file. And the path to that file, I say slash, right, / then text.text and be the path. So the second argument is encoding, to the important, right? But make I just do this. Then why the third is a callback. Now in reading this file, two things is likely to happen because this takes a callback, right? And in NodeJS we do error first, right? So if you say error, make a pass any and data. So this data should be a string, right? Or should be a buffer, right? There should be capital letter. So a buffer. Now I'll say if error, then make it throw error. Else, right? Make a console log that data. So now make I remove this. If I save, we'll see this. So this thing now buffer. We can't read that, right? So to read them, I either come here, convert them to string, right? So if I convert them to string, now we can read what was written here. This is the day that the Lord has made. Makes sense, right? Now, another thing we'll feed do now, say, okay, make I remove this. So if I come here, I fit pass the encoding, which is the second thing. So we'll use UTF-8, right? So once we do that, we're going to see error here, and that's because of this. So I can say string, right? So I can say string, convert this guy to string. So if I save this now, we dey see the data here. Makes sense, right? Okay, so now we dey get this, right? So this is good, right? So the next thing now we'll do now na say, okay, so of course we'll convert time, we dey see everything, right? So makes sense, right? So now so if you use read from this file. So the next thing what I want to show now, okay, how if you use write to the file, which is very, very important, right? So make I just duplicate this because now almost the same thing, right? But for here we will say, okay, this one now to write, that's what if you use right now. For write no need a callback, so I will remove this. Oops. I'll remove this, then remove this. Of course, it will just put here now, say maybe something like done writing, right? So so it takes the parts, the contents, right? So make I just copy this, come here, paste this here. So this, which are the writing now? This is the day that the Lord has made, right? So my office say, okay, I will rejoice and be glad in it, right? So that's our one right now. Now if I save this here, we'll see done writing. Then if I come here, I'll see this is the day that the Lord has made, would rejoice and be glad in it. Now remember, say at first the thing gets exclamation, right? But here we need to see exclamation again. The reason for that now, say anytime we write to a file, if there's already a content there, you go override wetin we don't write there, you go overwrite them, right? So very important, right? Now if we want to write to the file we did there before, meaning we no want overwrite them, we want write into RAM. So the one we'll go use now append, so that's like updating, right? Writing to that file, append. So make I first of all just duplicate here, then come here, so I go say append file, right? So here should be done appending, So if I save, we'll see done appending. So what we look at now, so we'll see this is the day that the Lord has made, we'll rejoice and be glad in it. Yeah, then we'll see another one. If I come, save again, save again, save again. If we come here, we look at hola, right? So so make I just to Control A, remove this here, save here, so it be empty. So I feel do /n, right? So that it will break down. So if we do, we save, we come here, we see this. If I come, save again, if we come here, we see come down. So I feel say make I make twice, like do /n again. So save that. So if we come, I feel just duplicate, Control A, remove, save here. So if we save, we save, we save, we save. So if you come here, aha, better, right? So you see that's append, right? So we're appending to it, right? So we don't do CRU, the last will be D, which is to delete. So if I come here, so make I just, then make I comment here. So to delete, we will use on link, right? So of course on link need to take just one thing in go take, right? So make I just remove all this first, right? Oops. So I want to remove all this, then okay, good. So if we come in here, so it takes 2 to 1 argument, right? So the first two arguments to be precise. So the first now the file will want on link. So like I say text.txt. Then why the second a callback, right? Which basically go say okay, must say done on linking or deleting, right? So observe what thing go happen here. So once I save, done and I'm still seeing this. For real? Okay, so let's see what's wrong. Oh, my bad. So save this, observe what happened here. So we save, boom, that's gone, right? It's gone, right? Even though this here, right, it's gone, right? And delete, you can't get that file anymore, right? So that is how would work with that. Okay, so now this is how we use this, and of course we as well get the promise of this. So if I do, like I say, promise, so this one, so make we do slash promise, right? So how if you use and as almost the same thing, right? So if you say where is it? So fs promise, right, dot make we start with write file. So now similarly the same thing, so this is slash text, right? I'm not doing JSON yet. So remember, let's just say this is it, right? Then a callback, so we'll say console log, maybe done. So let's see. So this guy is shouting. So if we save, we see this file don't come. Now I just remembered, so we can do a dot then because it's a promise, right? So inside there we can say, okay, done, right, done writing. So if we save, we see our done writing. Then if we come here, we see this is it, right? So in that same regard, right, so I feel say, okay, make I say read file. So of course if I'm reading file, I no go get this, right? So that goes out. So done, this should be so make I just remove this, make I comment here. So here go be rest, of course, right? And rest. So if we save, we see this in buffer, right? You know what to do by now. So we can either convert it to string, so we see this is it, or if we come here, say pass our UTF-8, right? So then I don't need here to save that, we see this is it, right? So this is the promise approach, right? So you can use promise to read it, or you use the callback to read it. So any which way, it's still your way, right? Okay, so now let's get serious with this, right? So what if so I want to create, let's say I want to create a folder, right? Or let's say I want to create a file, but that file has to be inside a folder, right? So how would I do that? So for example, if I come here and I say data, right? So inside that data, I would like to do something like, let's say let user be equals to an object. So pass name to be, let me say get to, so get to dev, then we'll say id to be okay, so my use UUID, so I'll say npm I UUID at types slash UUID, right? So make that one in store, and I think I as well need a moment as well, so now say npm I moment, enter. Okay, so make I get those two imported, so we'll say v4 as UUID from UUID, as well as import moment from moment. Okay, So now we don't get those two. So here I'll just say UUID. Then make I do created at. So this one I'll say this dot from, right? And format rather. Then I'll just do triple L. Okay, so here I go say new date dot get time. Yeah, so something like that. So that gives us this user. So make I see so I see the moment node installed, cannot find moment or the corresponding. So make I do at types slash moment. Yeah, so I must save it again. What's the problem? UUI, you cannot find this model as well. UUID is here. Okay, so make I first of all this show say I dey get something. So may just comment here console log UUID. So must see. Okay, so UUID is good. Then must see moment dot get time dot format. Okay, so everything is fine. So why is this guy now acting like say it's not fine? Okay, so let me just remove here and come back to this user. So I want to pass this user into this data, right? So I would say fx dot write file. So remember I say this thing dot slash data slash, so make us say data.json, right? Now so make I just to pass this guy. So I go say data dot json dot stringify, then pass that user inside there, right? Then of course a callback to say console log maybe done. So make we save, right? So if we save, we see done, and if I come here we see this guy inside here. So what we don't do now, say we don't write that file, enter inside here. Makes sense. Of course I feel add one more L, right? So that give me tell me Sunday, right? Okay, so makes sense, right? Okay, so now here's the problem. If I delete this, right, and I save, I see done, but I don't see anything. Why? Because this guy does not have ability to create folder, and I just file and get ability for, right? And that's a problem. Why? Because we won't create this thing inside a folder, not just in a file. Now to do that, we need to use another stuff, which is, so now I will say fs.mkdir. so this one allow us to create folder. So if I come here, I will do slash data, or rather I just do slash data. So if I save this, you see say this folder don't be created. So waiting this one they do, it creates folder, right? But this one they creates file. So that's good, right? Okay, so this guy now allows us to write right into that folder. Make acute sense. Okay, so now what we'll come do now, since this one they allow, so how then can we now use it, right? So first off, what we need to, so this thing we'll write here, make we write down well using path, right? That's why you learned path earlier on. So I will say so let's folder be equals to path dot join, right? So down name, then data. So this one now for folder. Then now I can say, okay, let file be equals to path dot join. So this one will be folder, comma, and data dot JSON, right? So it makes better sense like this, right? So if this file leads there, then this folder, right? So that's good. So what we'll go on to for this expression and say, okay, we'll say if okay, now let me even check something else again. So we can check the existence of whether this folder exists or not, right? And to do that, now for us to say fx dot exist sync, right? Then pulls the folder. Now this guy, if we save, we need to see anything, but anyways, so what thing I go do for that now? So okay, I will say if this, then let it return, okay. So now that I've written this, right, so I can now say console log, right? So let's say file exists, else let it console log, let's see, so which one is first file exists? So we'll just say file exists, file does not exist. So if we save this, we'll see file exists, right? Or folder exists rather. So I'll just do folder exists, right? So if I come here and I delete this, right? So if we run this, we'll see folder doesn't exist. So this thing makes sense, right? Because this thing now will give us a check to know whether we can write or not, right? So with this clue now, what we need to do now is say, okay, if the file does not exist, let it make the folder. So we'll say mk fx dot mk dir, right? So make it make the folder, like create the folder, yeah, make the folder. Okay, so of course it takes that argument. Then the next is for us to set that callback. So I will come here now and say folder created, right? So makes sense, right? So now we don't do this, right? Inside, when the folder don't be created first, then we can now write the folder. I like this intelligent, so makes sense, right? So Mercy, yes, so that user, then user data saved. Okay, good. Now, but if the folder had already decreated, like we already get the folder, then of course this side here will run, right? So now if I save the folder they created, if we come here, we see this, right? So folder created this, right? Good. Now if I save here again, the folder no they created, so just see only user save. Okay, makes sense. So that's good. So we don't solve one puzzle. But the thing we originally want now, say okay, more they add data, right? Make data the entire year, right? So anytime I save, we get fresh data enter here, and that one we say okay, I they change this name, so they get those different user entering here. So that means say year has to be an array, right? So that if you use the push method to the add. But then look, if I do this, I save, of course, you know, say it go override, right? So somebody go say, okay, but you teach us pending, but we feel use append, right? That's true. So if I come here, if I come here and I say append file, right? If we save, here don't show red, so more local. Now because say this thing just a hard, right? So this thing just a hard, so no comma. People if we put comma, it go dey wrong, but if we put array here, it go dey balance, right? So ultimately we need here to be an array. So we know just a write, but we go dey push to RAM, and of course we know use append, right? Because of course again a push one dey push enter inside here. So make I just remove everything here, save here. So it then means that the way we go use write, we need to first of all read, right? Does that make sense? The way we'll use write, we need to first of all read. So for here, I can just put this guy inside an array, right? Like this. Make I save. So if I save my suite, oh rubbish. So make I just remove, right? So if I save here, if we can't look here, we still see just an object, even though I put this thing inside an array, like say, right? So the point here now, say okay, so we need to first of all read from right, within we they get now, it's we they get, we call write, right? So make we do that now. So ma come here, remove everything here, just put an empty array. Then this write, make I cut them comot, right? So that we will do a read first. So inside here, let me see. So we make directory and okay, so because when we make directory at first, you know, say it will be empty, right? So most start. So what we go do first of all now, say okay, make I say so make it just right. Anyways, so make I just call this guy back, right? So which we want write. So if I see okay, so I just come here, no, out there. So make I do this dot push. So this dot push so why is this guy showing me this red arrow? Okay, so more come here. So make I just say let's data be equals to this here. So my cut here, put data here. Okay, so pass this here. So this user, it's almost like you need to see this user. Why? Okay, so let's say const data to be equals to an empty array at the moment, right? So inside here we can say data dot push. Let's push that user. So this user is showing this because I can come here and say, let me just map to any at least for now, save here. So let's delete this. Right, so if we do this now, we get this for come here, awesome, right? So we get this now. But if I should save again, something happens here. So would they get this? Everything we want with that, right? So let's come here. We're not doing append, so we'll do read, right? So if we read this, we'll remove this. So here, of course, we'll say error. Let me map to any, and data will map onto any as well. Save that. So here we'll say if error, then let it throw that error. Else, right? Make we read this data. So more read this data. So make we say, okay, so now come here, say data. So if I save this, we get them as buffer. So we need to convert them, right? So if I say dot, so string, yeah, so they read them, but a string with this. So what we will do here now, so okay, make us say dot res go there equals to json dot pass dot to string. Okay, good. Now rather than doing this here, so if I come here and say rest, right? So good, we get them in JavaScript objects, right? Makes sense. So I will remove this console log because we don't need them, right? We still want to do now, right? So make I just copy here, come here, paste this, right? But the right or the right now, this our res. So I will say res dot push. So I want push user. Okay. So I push user. So here now I will put rest again. So if I save this now, we get added. So more come here. So that second guy has been added. So if I come here now, I say to save that. If we come here, save, we see the second. If I had another third, we save here. We come here, we see the third. If I remove this, right, so meaning the final there exists. If we save, we see this, we come here, makes sense, right? 3. So if I come here and remove this guy and save, we get this. Make acute sense. So majorly that's it, right? So lastly, make we look at events. So events, they're very simple, right? So I can just say import to user. So I'll say import event emitter, right, from event. Now note first of all that this event emitter is a class. So for me to use I will say const, make us say something like my event. So that will be equals to new this guy, right? Make acute sense, right? Okay. Or another way I fit do am na say okay, I fit say class must say event. So this one way it show this kind of color. So must say or might just say my event. So extends from this event emitter class, right? So now if you can say okay, const new events, the day equals to my event, right? Makes sense like this, right? So this one now I feel use that. So I feel say something like new event, right? If I do dot, I see all of this, right? So I feel say my event, then I can call on, right? So majorly of everything we did and are just two methods now we'll basically use often, the on and the emitter, right? And so make I just do a brief explanation. So for this event, we did make use of something. So we'll say okay, emitter listener, and handler, right? So these three very important. So this guy, they're responsible for signaling an event or calling out an event. This one listen to any event that will be emitted. Then this one is responsible for handling the results of that emitter or that stuff, right? So if I say something like new event dot on, so on is the listening, right? So listening for something. So make I just say I say ready, right? So it takes a callback, and this callback, this is the result of that callback, right? And inside there we do console log rest, right? It can be anything, right? It can be anything, right? So at the moment, make I just remove this because we need to call anything here. So make I do something like handling ready event. So we save this here. Then the next thing is, this is the emitter. So once, let me see which of them did I use. No. So new event, right, dot emit, right? So if I call ready, right, and I save, won't see. Okay, so will they see handling event ready, right? Now if I call this guy up, we'll not see anything. That's because by nature emitter events or emitter, right, is actually a synchronous code, right? Remember, I would already establish say this thing, this callback is synchronous in nature, right? So by default, event as well is synchronous in nature. So in order for me to make this thing today to be non-blocking, to be async, wetin I fit do, I fit just do maybe set immediate, right? And just do something like this, put this one here. So if I run them, we will still see this, right? Makes sense, right? Now so anytime we emit, we dey pass something. So make I just pass like this true here. So to get that, if I come here and I do rest, right? So if I save, we'll see the true. So the handler, the function, the thing with the happen here, anytime we listen, we can use it. So basically this is how we would use events. Now we will use them in detail, right? Maybe when we move into socket IO or something, right? So we'll use them in detail and get more information about this stuff, right? So now yeah, I will stop, right? I hope say you get a lot of learnings from these, right? And I really hope say it really makes sense, right? So we'll still touching them, we'll still touch them, right? So to use them on different examples and get better learnings from this whole thing, right? So see you guys till we meet again. Peace out. Yes.